Star Wars fans have a habit of being irrational and impatient. I said it as a long-time proud Star Wars fan myself. For a long time, I enjoyed movies and the shows in the universe that the casual fan may not, honestly. There are a lot of characters and moments in Star Wars, though, that hardcore fans have Sith levels of hatred for. Hell, Hayden Christensen's life was ruined at one point because of irrational fan hate. His career and mental health took a hit so bad that he decided to take a hiatus from it all. Flash 2022 and his return to the franchise, and he got this overwhelming amount of love from fans hearing the news. See, Hayden, like I mentioned before, wasn't the only person fans flip-flopped on. Today, we're going to take a look at a fan favorite character as well as my personal favorite character and follow the journey of how she went from being hated to absolutely loved. Let's take a stroll down memory lane and talk about Ahsoka Tano.
You're now watching The Captain.
So in 2008, Star Wars The Clone Wars made its film debut. It's safe to say that for the most part, it was not well received. It introduced a few things that fans at the time had issues with. The screenplay and the animation itself were two big issues, but the biggest focus of the hate had to do with the introduction of Anakin Skywalker's new padawan learner. See, Ahsoka came in hot to the scene. She's introduced, and not even 4 minutes later is she cracking jokes in this almost MCU type of snippy conversation with Anakin. Get it? Snippy? See what I did there? Despite the movie's public perception, it turned a major profit. It was made with a budget of around $8.5 million and grossed $68.3 million worldwide. 2 months later, the official television series debuted on Cartoon Network using the movie as a pilot. Even with the series continuing to be very successful, being one of the better shows on Cartoon Network in my opinion, probably like top 3, but a lot of different people never got on board with the show because of the presence of Ahsoka. People use words like annoying, disrespectful, or even teeny bopper as different ways to describe her. She was seen as a distraction due to her just appearing and claiming a spot, walking shoulder to shoulder with popular, well-established characters like Anakin from the jump. Her getting all the glaze from Yoda probably didn't help either, because, they were saying she was very talented, very young to be in her position, but, it is what it is. To put even more gas on the fire, though, she had this habit of giving cute nicknames to fan favorite characters. Like she called Anakin Sky Guy. She carried herself with this sort of supreme arrogance. Essentially, people assumed that she thought her shit didn't stink. She believed that she was on par with or more experienced than established Jedi, and this made her incredibly hated. But what a lot of people don't understand, or maybe didn't know, or even don't want to know, that was the point. Ahsoka is so annoying. Yes, do it. Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. When looking at the redemption of Ahsoka to fans, I think there are 2 characters we can thank. One of them being the Chosen One himself. See, the Clone Wars wasn't just a redeeming moment for Ahsoka, but it spent a lot of time flushing out Anakin and giving him an overhaul from the depressing dialogue that George Lucas gave him in the prequels. He came across as a lot more capable and confident, and just overall more funny. We got to see this legendary general Luke was told about in A New Hope, the guy that was the savior of the Clone Wars for the most part. Because fans got to see this much more polished version of Anakin, people were able to come around to the vision Dave Filoni and George Lucas had for Anakin and Ahsoka as master and student pairing. What if I told you this wasn't the initial plan for it though? Instead of involving Anakin and Obi-Wan, Filoni planned to build the series around Ahsoka and Jedi Master Plo Koon. Yeah, the one Jedi Master with the cool goggles and the mask. He damn near looked like a Sith Lord to me, but yeah. But yeah, the project was developed to be something pretty damn close to what we saw from Star Wars Rebels. A Jedi Master and a Padawan navigating seedy, dangerous areas around the galaxy. They pitched the project to George Lucas and his team. The immediate rebuttal though, fans didn't want to see that shit. See, that's what George Lucas sounds like, in case I didn't know. Lucas believed that fans desired to see the upper crust of the Jedi Order. Fan favorites like Anakin or Obi-Wan needed to be included if the show was going to succeed in George Lucas' decision. That being the case, Dave Filoni saw a perfect opportunity to use Anakin and Ahsoka in a perfect way. See, if there's one thing Anakin Skywalker struggled with as a Jedi, it was his difficulty in letting go of attachments. He allows strong bonds to lead him to do bad things, eventually evil things when those people are involved. Fuck them kids. Ahsoka was paired with Anakin to be his Padawan and to be a learning experience. She acted like a mirror to Anakin. Giving him the responsibility to teach her was funny as fuck to me because he essentially has to try to break in her the bad habits that he was actively dealing with at the time. This just builds one of the strongest bonds Anakin has ever had, honestly making the situation way worse. On the flip side of things, Ahsoka had her own mirror pointing up at her as well. Both seeing their worst traits of one another is something that not just the audience recognizes, but characters in the show like Obi-Wan. He constantly points out how similar they are to each other whenever they would be butting heads or arguing with one another. They are in a lot of ways more like siblings than anything else. Siblings in a way a lot of people can relate to. Hell, I can relate to. See, when you're the older sibling, you have a difficult job being the trailblazer. You build a legacy based on trial and error, figuring out things as you go, but most people only see the finished product. Ahsoka has the advantage that a younger sibling can't always take advantage of: the mistakes of the older sibling. See, by the end of the series, Ahsoka has all the best aspects of Anakin. The talented offensive force of a Jedi who's on par with some of the most amazing Jedi Masters. She's an amazing strategist and general who's earned the respect of all the clone troopers. All that being said though, Ahsoka has her flaws. She still, by the end of the series, has a certain sense of arrogance and naivety about her that she continues to work on in the series that comes in after Star Wars Rebels and her solo series for prime examples. The second integral character to the growth and redemption of Ahsoka was a character no one would expect. See, Beerus is a very interesting character. She was introduced in season 2, episode 6 of the Clone Wars. She was presented as this exceptional padawan of Jedi Master Luminara Unduli, coming in very poised and prepared, seemingly the perfect example of what Ahsoka should aspire to be, a big sister figure, if you will. Beerus strictly believed in the traditional idea that Jedi are peacekeepers first, which, funny enough, Ahsoka, while for the most part, agrees with this. She has a slight naivety like Anakin that the Jedi are always pure of intention, and above all the drama and corruption outside of the Order. This is a pretty radical way of thinking that historically leads to a Jedi leaving the Order once that facade is broken, because we know Jedi aren't able to keep up that higher sense of superiority that they have over a lot of people in regards to being pure, being guardians, and being above everything else. Anakin and Ahsoka were assigned to investigate and find the culprit. See, this was a bigger problem than you would think because the attack was done in a highly secured Jedi temple. There was speculation and rumors that a Jedi was behind the bombing, acting as an opening for Darth Sidious, who was still under his disguise as Supreme Chancellor at the time, to paint the Jedi Order as a dangerous liability. Because if you can't control your own, how can you protect and serve? Anakin and Ahsoka eventually discovered a key suspect who then requested that Ahsoka speak to her. In this moment before the suspect could reveal the truth of what happened and who was behind the bombing, she was murdered by someone using the Force. Obviously, Ahsoka is put in a bad position here. Being framed as a murderer it kind of kicked off a string of episodes that saw Ahsoka trying to prove her innocence. This journey developed Ahsoka more than any other moment in the series because now she was alone. Everyone she knew and trusted had to abandon her. The Jedi Order, the Republic, and her master. Even after all of her fighting and investigating, she never found out who framed her. Due to all this political tension that I previously mentioned, the Jedi Order was forced to excommunicate Ahsoka from the Order so that she could stand trial before the Senate alone without the backing of the Jedi Order behind her. Eventually, Anakin brought forth the mastermind behind the attack though. Ahsoka's close friend, you guessed it, drumroll please, Beerus Offee herself. She saw the ongoing Clone War as the Jedi's fault, seeing the Order as a group who've fallen from grace, fallen from their original idealistic view that Beerus and Ahsoka saw them as, guardians and protectors. As you would expect, even being cleared of all crimes, Ahsoka still had a lot of things to figure out with her life. The security blanket she thought she had was ripped off of her. Her entire life was the Jedi Order and the perceived perfection of it, for real. She had a lot to learn about people and the way the galaxy works, which is something she herself said she realized after the trial, leading to her leaving the Order behind and becoming a Ronin, a warrior without a master. Ahsoka spent a lot of time wandering around after that, encountering different people and places, using the teachings of the Order and Anakin to help her get out of difficult situations. This chapter of her journey meets its end when she gives her efforts towards helping liberate Mandalore and capturing Darth Maul by working with the Jedi Order one more time. By the end of the conflict and her defeating Maul, she has this realization. The Clone Wars era for Ahsoka ends as he transitions into trying to survive Order 66 and the rise of the Galactic Empire. She has a beautiful character arc that is one of the main set pieces of the Clone Wars series. Her journey in this series doesn't end on a happy note, but it prepared her for the battles to come as she was dealing with stuff in Star Wars The Rebels and the Mandalorian series, as well as her own solo series eventually. She makes a shift in her post-Clone Wars development as she transitions into her new role as a teacher and a mentor from multiple characters, creating a full circle moment there. I can't wait to see where her story takes her in the upcoming second season of her solo series, and to see what is possible in her new appearance in the upcoming Filoni and Favreau Star Wars films that may potentially be coming out. When looking at the growth of Ahsoka post-Clone Wars throughout Rebels and the Ahsoka show, it may be surprising to learn that her journey mirrors one of the most famous characters in media, Gandalf the Grey from J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. I know, it's random as fuck, but hear me out here. Think about it. The Dark Lord has tempted one of the most powerful forces of good to his side, a teacher and a mentor who betrays his oath for his own gain. Gandalf the Grey is known as being this curious but stubborn, often going on his own adventures type of person, unsure of his own direction, both literally and figuratively, and struggling with accepting the role and responsibilities given to him by the Council of Valar. When Gandalf faces one of the greatest evils of the world, laying his life on the line to allow the Fellowship to escape, he is reborn as Gandalf the White, a paragon of light. And there is a special significance in this change, as Gandalf the White is described as being more in touch with the universe itself. His personality has become more stable, a bright beacon of good and pureness. And it's really emphasized in the moment where Gandalf says that, "I have forgotten much that I thought I knew, and learned again much that I had forgotten." One might almost say Saruman, as he should have been. Knowing all this about Gandalf, it's pretty clear to see Ahsoka's journey is very similar to his. Her mentor was the hero of the Republic, tempted to serve the Sith Lord. Ahsoka fights off the greatest evil, Darth Vader himself in Rebels, sacrificing herself to save the Rebel crew. She's been rescued by a magical spirit bird, just like Gandalf was in facing the Isengard, which makes her transformation into her white robes following the events of Rebels and into the live action series that much more poignant. When we see Ahsoka, she's still herself but different and in touch with the Force in ways only the strongest Jedi masters are. I personally have a very special love for Ahsoka Tano because I was able to grow up right alongside her. She was a vehicle for me and a lot of other younger Star Wars fans to explore the universe from a different lens. As she was learning what it meant to be a true Jedi, we were learning what it meant to be a true Jedi. Dave Filoni didn't create a perfect Jedi, but he created a flawed one that had room to grow, and grow she did. She eventually overtook Yoda and Mace Windu and became my favorite Star Wars character, period. I honestly can't think of any other canon character with more of a well-rounded story that you can also empathize with. But y'all let me know in the comment section below what you thought of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars series, and is she your favorite character? Is she your most hated character? Let me know. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to look up any other of the great Star Wars content I have. I think a while back I did a video over my wish list for the Star Wars universe, so you can find that video somewhere on the screen. Thank y'all so much for watching this. I appreciate anyone who's made it to this point. Be good people, and remember, forever and always,
You're now watching the captain.
I'll see y'all next time.